Hey, everybody. Welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Mike.
And I am Bogz. Let's do it.
Yeah, today we're getting into some intense stuff because we're talking about the first 3 episodes of The Boys season 3, which dropped on Amazon Prime this past week. Easily, I mean, this is one of the most critically acclaimed streaming programs on right now. The season was long awaited. We've been getting teased with things for a while, and suffice to say, this show didn't waste any time in getting to what we have come to expect from the show within the first 15 minutes. Bogz and I both agreed, like, wow, all right, starting at 11. We're just starting at 11. So how were you excited going in? I mean, were you excited going into this season, man? Like, where were you sitting?
Yeah, kind of. So with my, I didn't watch it when it came out, The Boys. I binged it in preparation for the second season, I believe. So I binged the first season in preparation, like the day before the second season came out or something.
Wow.
And I thought it was a little overrated, I'll be honest. I love some parts, and I just think some parts are okay. So to be honest, anything with the soups, I think is brilliant. Obviously Homelander is one of the best villains I've ever seen in television, quite frankly. The actor, I forgot his name, Andrew Starr. Anthony Starr. That never seen him before, but wow, like his is unbelievable how good this guy is. And I really like Butcher from kind of The Boys, but anything with the soups, I just love, like the political stuff, stuff about data, the structure, the Seven, and people. Everything about that is so fascinating. And it's just that it just seems like a parody and such a fun take on, Marvel and DC characters and other superhero stuff. But anything to do with the actual boys, apart from Butcher, I don't really find that interesting. I got to be honest. So I'm talking I'm talking Frenchie, Kamiko, I'm talking Stu. I'm just not that interested in their stories. And with the I felt like they concentrated more of the boys, the team, the boys, in the second season. So I was just like, I was more interested in the superheroes or in the soup. So going into this season, I wasn't massively looking forward to it. But objectively, I can say, like, it is such a smart show. Like with the politics, with the kind of R-rated stuff that they do, the parody stuff, the smart writing. There's so many different characters and story arcs that is such cleverly ties together. They're definitely characters and arcs I like less, but none of them are actually bad. I can objectively say that. So yeah, if this, for me, this superhero series is pretty much better than any DC or Marvel series I've seen in the last few years, or Disney Plus series, I should say. Marvel or Disney Plus series. Like, I'd rather watch this than any of them series, any of the DC series that have come out recently. So so maybe I wasn't massively looking forward to it, but after watching these 3 episodes, I should have been, I think, because it's a really good series, to be honest. But yeah, how about you?
I echo a lot of what you say, because I found that sometimes in the first 2 seasons, while I liked everything, there were things I liked more, and most of the stuff that had to do with the power structure and the political struggle with the soups was fantastic. The stuff with the boys, I could kind of take or leave. It wasn't that it was bad. It's just it wasn't what I was most interested in. What I've noticed from these 3 episodes alone, though, is I feel like they've kind of stepped up the writing a little bit, because so in episode 3, when Huey's on the phone with Starlight saying, I need you to stick this out a little bit longer, I'm back with Butcher, we're going to take this thing head on, and they just kind of have this quick couple-minute conversation. She's like, you're right, that makes sense, let's do it like that. I think back to seasons 1 of 2, and I'm like, that would have gone on for 3-4 episodes, would have been a lot of nobody being honest with each other, and it's like they're cutting out the bullshit, and they're just saying, here's the problem, let's deal with it smartly. And I'm like, okay, so now, and also now the stuff with the boys and the soups is really coming to a head with that conversation that Homelander has with Billy in his apartment, where he's like, look, at the end of the day, you and I just need to fight this thing out. Like, is what it can, we just need to fight, screw this behind the scenes stuff. and I think everyone's kind of like, we're coming to a head finally. So I'm far more interested in how all the loose ends are kind of seem to tie themselves up with season 3. Not that I'm saying it's gonna be the last season, but and it's very clear that they know what the people have really liked with seasons 1 and 2, which is the really dark and outlandish and crazy stuff, and they are putting everything into that because we see a lot of just some of the most gruesome deaths out of any of these seasons, and I'm including the dolphin and the whale. Like we
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
where would you, as far as these 3 episodes go, have you had any like favorite moments or moments where you were just kind of like, see, now like this is the show that I want to see?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously the opening scene is shocking, quite frankly.
You know,
I
I'm
guess
gonna throw this thing up there just
sure,
so we're clear.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely spoilers. Yeah.
yeah,
We don't do no non-spoilers. I don't
no,
think so. But yeah, just to confirm, we are spoiling this, and we have only seen the first 3, of course.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely the opening scene is, even the writing of that. Like, how do you even pitch that to, or yeah, it's like Ant-Man. What if
You know the
R-rated
whole
kind of
Ant-Man
thing.
Thanos
Yeah.
thing? Let's do it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's weird to see, in a superhero type story, but yeah, I mean, it worked, and really graphic and funny death scene, and yeah, definitely really quirky, but yeah, numerous scenes with Homelander. I've got to be honest. I really miss the Elizabeth Shue character. She was probably her and Starland, Homelander were my favorites in that like cringe-worthy relationship that they had. I mean, absolutely loved it. It was like must-watch television. Their scenes were. So I'm kind of missing her character. I know she's kind of been replaced by, I forgot the character's name, the ginger girl, or the redhead. That
Ashley.
yeah, I believe so. So they've kind of got a different power struggle with. Is it Giancarlo Esposito's character?
Stan.
Yeah,
Stan
so he's
Edgar.
taken a different, obviously, he has to take a different approach where he has almost no fear of Homelander, and the control that he has. So seeing just their kind of dialogue and particularly the Homelander scene when she's on the edge of the building, that girl, and she's going to jump off, and he helps her out first, tries to say, I'm just going to save you no matter what, and then he kind of realizes what's going down, and then doesn't save her, and yeah, just every scene where he's up close and personal with someone, or where he turns his back, or he gives someone like a second glance, you don't know if they're going to make it out of that scene alive. And it's just find it fascinating. Obviously, we've seen him destroy, airplanes, kill people, put lasers through their face, through their eyes. Like, it's just the fear that he has, just being such a horrible, person and menace. I find him gripping to watch, and just seeing establishing the boys and some of the characters establishing a weapon that can destroy him. Just having the negotiations and the flashbacks of how that might have occurred. Obviously, we didn't see the weapon, and we didn't see exactly from Soldier Boy. I think his name was how he died or anything like that exactly, but it was alluded to. So hearing them, that being kind of the big bad almost of the series, not the big bad, but the main objective of the series so far anyway, to get this to him so we can to try and kill him, basically. Simple story. And just all the little side character stories, and obviously the stuff that Stu was going through the and you mentioned that I did like his turn to kind of go back to Butcher, because you're right. I do feel like that same thing would have happened. It would have taken 2-3 episodes. They would have argued back and forth, him and Starlight. They would have fallen out, maybe got back together, then come to an agreement, and have like a romance type thing along the journey. And they're the stuff I just don't really, not too fond of in the boys, and they kind of, I did feel like they've streamlined that out, and they've concentrated on just other characters and story arcs. Like Starlight, I like the way she's like the co-lead now, and she has to kind of, Homelander has to backtrack a little bit but at the same time, he's so confrontational. Everything has to go through him. Still, every decision, every choice. So yeah, just love how he's kind of overshadowing the whole series. And yeah, so there are some of my standout moments. Anything to do with Homelander, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously opening scene was good. And yeah, how about you?
Dude, anytime Homelander's on screen, I get excited.
Right.
I've already
He's the evil Superman.
he
So
is, but he's so much more
Superman is my
interesting.
favorite hero of all time. So
Yeah.
seeing an evil version, I'm in. I am in.
He's not, but it's. I think he's so much more interesting because, like, I've seen evil
Yeah.
Superman. I've seen it. Injustice is great. I've seen that story before. But
Yeah.
Homelander's just straight. He's just nuts. He's just straight up unhinged nuts. And
Right.
like, I love going through, like, whenever we meet a character and just seeing them and how they interact with Homelander and just thinking to myself, oh, you're doomed. You're like a Supersonic who we meet, who is an old friend of Starlight's. He is going to die. He is a
And
dead.
she's warned him. She's warned him as well. Don't take it.
Yeah.
It's not what it is. It's not what it seems.
He's a dead man. He is not making out of this season alive.
No.
But yeah, anytime with Homelander, I think we were talking about this in on Facebook. Like, this guy, how he has not. I mean, I know it's a superhero property, so it doesn't stand a chance. But like, he to give the man just a big bag of Emmys, just back up a truck full of Emmys into his front yard and dump, because it's, especially when you see what Anthony Starr is like in real life. He's a very soft spoken, kind of hipstery Australian man who's looks he was nothing, has but also, like, I see him with the glasses and I don't recognize, and I'm like, oh, so Superman's onto something. Because it's always been this long running joke of how does no one know Superman? I get it now. I'm kind of loving what they're doing with Kimiko this season, where it's her trying to regain some humanity a little bit, where she's having these moments like where she's watching the girl play the piano and fantasizing about singing, having that moment with Ryan where she's talking about, like, she's like, I hate what I am and what I've become, and wanting to, when they go to the theme park and she's just loving the music and wants to ride the rides. And I'm kind of, it's kind of a flip on what we see with everything else, where everyone else who has powers is trying to be, whether it's good or bad, the best version. Like Homelander's trying to be the best Homelander he can be. Starlight's trying to be the best version. Kimiko she just wants to be normal.
Yeah,
that's an interesting take on everything going on in the show. So it's just, I'm having, in the first 3 episodes alone, I haven't quite had any moments that I was with, although I'm curious to see how this stuff with and I'm blanking on her name, but the congresswoman that Huey is working for, who
Nancy.
I know Nadia was her,
Nadia,
whatever her fake name is, but I'm curious to see how that's all going to play out, because it seemed like in episode 1 that was the big setup, and we kind of
really touched on it.
Yeah, we moved away from it for the most part in 2 and 3. So I'm really curious to see what's going to come from that. Also, one of the kids in the orphanage that Huey goes to visit, it's being kind of disputed online right now that might be Elizabeth Shue's son.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen the baby since the end of the first season. And something with whatever his name was, they're saying that's her son, that might come back to play at some point. So it's a lot of good for 3 episodes.
Of course, I got to mention Deep as well. I think he gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's so layered. For good or for worse, some of the stuff that he's doing, and his kind of conflict that he's always going through and trying to always impress Homelander and get into the 7, and then getting back in. Sorry, and obviously the scene where he eats his friend Timothy, that he obviously sees earlier when he's with his wife. And he's talking to, as he's kind of with his wife, he's talking to the about the arms. It's just like, he's just such a weird, like, crazy character that is compelling, and some of the and I really like his powers as well, like, because you don't fully know you know, obviously it's a parody of Aquaman, sure, but like you just don't. I just find it like what did they call it? King of the Seven Seas or something. I just
Yeah.
find it super interesting, and you know, just the real subtle things I find so clever in the boys. Like, you know, like the way when he first sees Starlight and the way his wife runs and hugs her as if it's like, you know, they're forgiving her or something for being the victim, for being that kind of thing. And then they even say afterwards, oh, you know, watch yourself because they don't want her getting her hands on you, kind of thing. And obviously that's not accurate at all, but you know, just the creepiness of it. You know, I do really like the subtlety, and you know, the humor behind it, and the clever writing from different angles and stuff. So yeah, that just little things like that are super. And you know, the way she texts him to eat Timothy,
Yeah.
to kind of get in his good books to get back in the seven. So it looks like the PR team have gotten him a wife, kind of thing. It's like a PR marketing thing
Mhm.
to make sure he stays on the straight and narrow for the team. So yeah, lots to like. Yeah, and you know, might be even actually be, to be honest, maybe the strongest start of any three of the three series so far. Yeah, super impressive. Like I said, it's, you know, you mentioned some things there about not liking. There's nothing really that I've seen that I didn't like.
Mhm.
Again, but the stuff that I did find, I literally was thinking, I don't need this. Is
Mhm.
some of the Frenchy stuff,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
even
yeah.
I know that they're trying to kind of do character development in him with his kid. Quite frankly, I don't care. I really don't care. There's too many characters for me to be interested in. There's too many interesting storylines that
Yeah.
I'm not really too invested in. His mother, his Butcher and his kid, like, and
Yeah.
in his relationship with his daughter. Okay, I got it. Right, you've done it. If, you know, you've talked through it enough in the first two seasons. But yeah, let's get to the weapon. Let's see what we can do. Let's get to the action. So um, yeah, just them kind of storylines. Oh, sorry, another scene I really liked was, I forgot the Nazi lady who,
Stormfront.
yeah, she was great. She was great. She was a highlight of the second series.
Mhm.
And then seeing what kind of happens to her, and kind of, I thought her story might continue on for the rest of the series, and it doesn't
Yeah.
look like it is. So, and even her creepy relationship with Homelander, you know, the way he kind of uses people, and even the just the way he would talk to her, um, for a second or two, show us like empathy, and then like just really talk about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the creepiness of that. You know, there's a lot of creepy stuff that happens in this series, and I think the writing is brilliant. You know, I do like my weird characters, so,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of them in this series. But yeah, some of the stuff I didn't like, with Stu as well, in the corporate stuff. I didn't need any of that until he goes back with the boys. I think, okay, yeah, that was a better story arc, that I wasn't really expecting for him to do based on the previous series. So yeah, I did like that. But yeah, some of the, like the Frenchy stuff where he's meeting the other girls, and I don't know what's gonna go on there. They can skip right past that for me.
Yeah. It
But yeah,
seems
they're
like
the things I didn't like.
at the end of episode 3, the Russian lady that Frenchie met with is gonna help them, I guess, get into Russia somehow to go find
Mm,
this thing with, so I'm like,
possibly, yeah.
"Okay, cool." I hope that that bears fruit because,
Mm,
yeah, I don't need another subplot with them. And like with the stuff, you know, the big thing with the way season 2 ended was he gets to go home to his wife and daughter.
yeah, yeah.
Season 3 opens up with, well, that relationship just completely devolved. I'm like, okay, it's been a year.
Mm,
How did it? You're telling me that over the course of a year, they got back together, fell apart. She met another guy, got remarried, and I'm like, it seems like a little too much changed between those two seasons. I don't need drama with him and his now ex-wife
mm,
and her new husband. The stuff about his dad being a part of the Soldier Boy
mm,
investigation that got him
mm,
killed, that is far more interesting to me.
mm,
And so, but now that means that essentially has two subplots of his own. One about his dad
mm,
investigating Soldier Boy, and one about him trying to deal with his relationship with his ex-wife and daughter. I don't need a side character to have two of his own subplots.
right, yeah, yeah.
Like you said, there's enough going on. You know, again, we're 3 episodes in. This
Mm.
might bear fruit down the line, but as of right now, yeah, I don't care about the stuff with the ex-wife and the daughter. Give me
Mm.
more of him going through his dad's files and stuff like that, because that pertains to the Soldier Boy stuff that we're going to get, because we've seen it in the trailers. We know it's coming. But and yeah, and the same with like Frenchie helping out Sherry, who we haven't seen since season 1 for all of 1 episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need, I like the stuff he's helping out. You know, he's got 2 subplots going, his relationship and trying to help Kimiko, and now this stuff with Sherry. Again, I don't need everyone to have 2 or 3 different subplots going on. So I'm hoping that, as seems to be happening, that stuff all is going to actually go somewhere. I really hope so. Otherwise, it's gonna feel a little messy and overloaded. Not that that's going to necessarily take away from all the good that we've got, though.
No, it doesn't. But I did feel like that after the second series. Like we spent too much time with certain characters. It's just for me personally. I mean, too much characters that I don't really want to. Like, I want to spend it with the Supes and their relevant stories to this universe. Not so much between, you know, Starlight and Stu's romance. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the importance of that compared to the rest of the stuff. You know, it's just not that. It's not a top priority for me.
Yeah.
And I did quite like, to be fair, like the love triangle that Stu and Starlight are going through. That's fine. You know, it's not as slow, because even in their second series, I mean, there was, I remember, you know, they went away for a week, you know, like a holiday together. And I remember literally being a bit bored at some of the scenes, you know, just having like a general romance. Like, I don't care, like, you know, quite frankly. But yeah, so I didn't mind that, you know, there's someone else there, like an old flame or whatever. So that kind of spices up the relationship. But yeah, overall, really strong start. No actual major issue, to be honest. So, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did watch the third episode twice, back to like straight after, because there was a lot in there, you know, with all the flashbacks, all the other characters. Seeing what happens to Noir, and of course Soldier Boy, and just seeing his and just re-listening to his dialogue, just to ensure I didn't miss anything. And yeah, there's a lot to like, and yeah, really strong start to the series.
Totally agree. Looking forward to what's. I'm so excited. I want episode 4 now.
Yeah,
I want to see what happens next. I'm so ready for the rest of this to drop. And if you've ever, and the thing is too, like, I've read some of the comics, and I can already tell you, it's kind of like with Walking Dead. We are so far deviated from how the comics were going at this point, that if you did read the comics or you want to go read them, I encourage you to do it. Because if you think the show is fucked up, the comics are on another level. But you won't get, I don't think you'll get anything spoiled at this point, because the way certain characters' kind of destinies were in the comics is, we've already long since made that no longer a thing with the show. So,
question, Mike.
Yeah.
Is the series better than the book, the comics?
Ooh, because
it's not often the case, right?
Yeah, no, it's.
So I just
I'd say if you're a fan of the comics, you are absolutely a fan of it. I think the show does the comics justice. It's hard to say if it's better or not, because again, at this point, it's deviated so much from what the comics are, in terms of like just how certain characters' origins and what they're about.
Right.
I think that it's going to depend. For me, I could take either one. Like I said, the comics, like with the show, we see a lot more happening on screen. In the comics, as messed up as they are, a lot of things are still not shown on the panel. There are some things that happen in the show that we see that are simply alluded to in the comics. One of those things they've said is coming this season, and I don't know how they're going to pull that off, if I'm completely honest. But I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But it's. I
mean, the way they pulled off the opening scene, I think they can. Pretty much
well, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Is like, well, they did that, so. But suffice to say, there's a superhero orgy coming, and I don't know how that's going to go. Good Lord.
Mm.
Anyway, this show is not for the faint of heart, neither are the comics. But
No,
yeah,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
but
and that's fair to say. The show isn't for everybody, and and I get that. But if you do love the dark heroes, you know, uh, particularly DC, I feel like, because
yeah,
I can see you can literally see every parody of the Justice League there. Whether it's A Train or Wonder Woman or Superman, Batman, whatever. You can see the exact references. Obviously, there's other characters as well, but
there's definitely
I feel
Marvel inspirations, but it
yeah,
leans, I think, a bit more heavily towards the DC side of
mm,
things as far as its references and like what characters are based off of. Like
right, for sure.
obviously in episode 2, we had a character that was obviously based on Scarlet Witch,
Mm,
and last season we had a guy that was a blatant ripoff of Daredevil, but like
mm.
everything else is a lot more DC inspiration. And I think that's because DC does tend to trend darker than
Darker, yeah,
Marvel
for
does
sure,
anyway.
for sure. Yeah, but yeah, excellent start, and I can't wait for a weekly review that we'll do
Yeah.
episode by episode.
Looking forward to it. We hope you guys are enjoying it too. Or if are you enjoying, did you enjoy these first 3 episodes of The Boys? What moment was your favorite? Let us know down in the comments, or let us know on Twitter. All our Twitter stuff's down there in the bottom. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be back again next week with Lord only knows what else could happen. Nothing is off the table with The Boys. Anything can happen. So let us know what you think, and we'll be back again next time. And check out what else we got going on here on the channel. And until then, have fun, everybody. Bye.